Hello, geometry students. Here we have a 5-minute check on lesson 1-1, and we'd like to name 3 collinear points. Remember, collinear means all the points are all on the same line. And the 3 points all on the same line are A, B, and T. What is another name for line AB? You are correct. The line AT is another way of naming line AB. Name a line in plane Z. Better yet, can you tell me a reason why line AW, line AQ, and line BQ are not in plane Z? Name the intersection of planes Z and W. So we have our Z plane being the red type plane, and our blue plane, along with this dashed line here, you can see. So it looks like they are intersecting at the line AB. How many lines are in plane Z? Now, it's not how many lines are actually drawn in plane Z. It's actually there are an infinite many number of lines in a plane. Which of the following statements is always false? The intersection of a line and a plane is a point. So a line and a plane can intersect exactly at one point when that line passes through that plane. The correct answer here is there's only one plane perpendicular to a given plane. You could have multiple planes being perpendicular to one given plane. Then, you identified and modeled points, lines, and planes in lesson 1-1, and now we're going to be measuring segments. And we're going to calculate with measures. New vocabulary is line segment, and betweenness of points, and between, congruent segments, construction. Find the length of line segment AB using the ruler. That shouldn't be very hard. We can see that the ruler is marked in millimeters, and point B is closer to the 42 millimeter mark. So we have length of line segment AB to be 42 millimeters. Find the length of line segment AB using the ruler. Each centimeter is divided into fourths. Point B is closer to the 4.5 centimeter mark. So we say line segment AB is about 4.5 centimeters long. Check your progress. Find the length of line segment AB. If you can't see that last answer, it says 20 millimeters. And the answer is 18 millimeters because not all the way to the 2. Find the length of line segment ON. Is it 1, 2, 2.5, or 3? The answer is 2 centimeters. Find the length of line segment DE. We can easily see that this is 3 inches. Find the length of line segment FG. Each is 1/4 inch, therefore we have 2 3/4 inch. Find the length of line segment AZ. Next problem, find the length of line segment IX. Okay, 2 1/4. Next key concept is something called betweenness of points. Point M is between points P and Q if and only if P, Q, and M are collinear, and when you add PM plus MQ, you get PQ. So here we're finding XZ, assuming that the figure is not drawn to scale. So XZ is the measure of line segment XZ, and point Y is between X and Z. Therefore, XZ can be found by adding XY and YZ. Between the points, we can use substitution, and we have an answer of 7 1/8 inches long. Find the measurement BD. Pretty simple. The answer ends up being 67.2 millimeters. Let's go back to that one. Okay, we're good. Find LM, and we're assuming that the figure is not drawn to scale. This time we know the length of LN, and we also know MN, and we're trying to find the other part, LM. And then therefore we can use a between subpoints and do substitution, and then subtract 2.6 from both sides, and we get LM equals 1.4. Checking your progress, find length TU. You are correct. The answer is 1 5/8. Write and solve equations to find measurements. Find the value of x and st if t is between s and u, and st equals 7x, su equals 45, and tu equals 5x minus 3. So we're first going to draw out the figure to represent the situation. So we have our our tu, t equals 5x minus 3, and that's indicated here in our first piece. And then we're also given that st is 7x. But we're also given that SU is all the way from here to here is equal to 45. So we have the two parts equaling the whole. So we have 7x plus 5x minus 3 equals 45. And then we solve using algebra, and we get x is equal to 4. And then we also want to find st. Therefore, we put 4 back in, and we have an answer of 28. Checking your progress. Find the value of n and wx if w is between x and y. Wx is 6n minus 10, xy equals 17, and wy equals 3n. N equals 3 and wx equals 8. Key concept, congruent segments. Congruent segments have the same measure. The symbol with the equal sign with the little tilde above it is called congruent to. Red slashes on the figure also indicate congruence. So in our problem here, we have our little red slashes showing that CD, line segment CD and line segment AB are congruent. The Arial font is often used because it's easy to read. Study the word time shown in the Arial type. Each letter can be broken down into individual segments. The letter T has two segments, a short horizontal segment and a longer vertical segment. Assume that all segments overlap where they meet. Which segments are congruent? The 5 vertical segments in the letters T, I, M, and E are congruent. The 4 horizontal segments in T and E are congruent. and the two diagonal segments in the letter M are congruent.